It's not that big a deal. It's easy to find and follow.
Yeah.
It just takes that first week or two to go, what the heck is this?
Maybe we should force Vincent to get into
Not
Guild Wars
happening.
2, and we'll do the podcast in Guild Wars.
Mishima.
Like, here's my level. Like, here's my level 1 character. I started the game just to be in this episode of podcast. I'm deleting this account after podcast is over.
Well, we'll just do like
No,
first
we'll
Monday
just
of
give
the
you a
month.
level to.
Yeah.
I've got these level to 80 tomes. I can just give you one.
Yeah, we'll just do the first
Make your
podcast of
max
the
level.
month. Yeah, first podcast of the month is in Guild Wars 2.
Hey guys, like, you guys are in Guild Wars too. I'm fucking playing something else entirely. He's like, hold up, my Ultron's throwing. One sec. I gotta
Ultron.
focus.
Like you guys were playing Payday 2 the other day, and I was playing Guild Wars. So
Yeah. The remember I told you like the crazy lady that because I would convince every woman that plays paladins is freaking nutso. The really nutty one is like it's back, but she's playing Marvel Rivals, and I was like, oh my god, she's playing all day. It's like, you know, she's not as angry playing Marvel Rivals. I don't know what's going on. You know, she seems to be
No,
chill.
man,
Either
because if you get countered, you can switch your character.
Yeah.
If it's like, oh look, we have 5 projectile characters, and they're playing Andrew in the sky, and nobody can touch him. I can switch to, I can switch to Victor right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that's just part of like the strategy of like it was fun of some of the paladin stuff is that you know gotta run with your brung, you know, because there'll be a lot of different times, especially defending. Like people would switch out for getting Strixes than other snipers, and depending on the or you know different tanks depending on the choke point. It would suck. I think the game would suck more.
But it all depends on mentality of
Yeah.
going into the game.
I would say
there are 2 different mentalities on how the game is balanced.
If the items didn't change, you had to stick with your items. That would make it so you could have to pick
You
items.
have to think ahead.
Right, and you would have to pick an item like what's general, so I could go with all these, you know. So morale boost would be probably everyone's first pick because, like, you know, if you're switching champions, you got to get your ult back as fast as possible. You know. Mm.
Yeah, but that's a completely different concept of design philosophy. Of I want you guys to lock in a comp, figure out how these characters work together, and make these work. In comparison of we're stomping. And then go into the next round, they just go, okay, they're stomping this way. We're going to play the exact opposite. And say, go fuck yourself. And you guys have to adapt to us stopping you. And it becomes a game of counterplay and a completely different generalized concept of things. So
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yes.
Okay.
Explain to me what it is about MMORPGs that you cannot stand.
Oh, it's not that I don't stand
Why
it.
you
I
won't
just
play
don't have
them?
the time.
What do you mean time, though? I mean,
there is a lot of different things. So if I'm playing a solo individual RPG game, it's already bad. We were playing Borderlands with Harry, and they were getting mad at me because I was stopping and doing every single question mark, every single side quest at the moment they showed up. And they were like, "Come on, we can't just keep sitting here doing this." It's like, I know, but I gotta do them all. This is what I have to do. Which is
but what is
part of MMOs, which is perfectly fine. But if for me personally, I just don't have the time to invest in an MMO like that. Because there's other games and other things.
That's what I'm trying to get to you. What do you mean by an MMO like that? Because Guild Wars 2 is not like World of Warcraft. There's no grind. There's no trying to get to gear. There's none of that stuff. You just play the game.
And he would play the game. It's just
whenever you want.
He would just try to 1% other areas and would stay in that area until he sees that magic.
I do that,
completed.
But I do that too.
Yeah.
I'm doing map completion right now for my third or fourth set of legendaries. You have to go and get map completion tomes. So I'm going through and doing map completions on other characters now. But that's as you have the time to play.
Game investment for the
Correct.
most part.
And
if I'm going to go into the game, if I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna play this game for X amount of time till I do everything I want to do in the game. But if I'm playing an MMO and it's like, well, in order to do everything in the map, you have to spend 200 hours in each just in total. That's kind of a different thing for me when I can put time into other things.
Yeah, but that's not how Guild Wars plays. That's what I'm just trying to explain to you that Guild Wars plays a completely different than like a Warcraft or a Final Fantasy, because you go at your own pace, very leisurely, and it's not like the quests that you do aren't insane, take a long time to do. Like, yeah, I can blow through like there's not even really quests in the game. It's just you just have objectives that you kind of want to do. You've got a story that you can follow. The story is instanced, so it's just you playing against, in an instance where you're not really playing in the world.
In the first story, you're not the hero anyway. So
Yeah, and you just you just play as you want to, like these little stories as you go along when you play that, or you can go to PvP, or you can do world versus world. There's all these things you can do as you feel like it, as time permits. There's no pressure from the game to keep up or to invest time.
I see what you're saying, but
I mean, they almost give you like the first 20 levels almost for free. They just, here you go.
Okay, all right. I think this is the only way to help. Vincent, can you describe to him how you play Zenless?
Oh, that I check in every day, and then when the new content drops, I just spend all the time of all my free gaming time to do all the content. And they literally just updated, and the main story content is 6 hours, and then additional 2 hours, and there's a bunch of side quest stuff I'm still working on. And then once all those are done, then I just go to just general dailies and just move on from there. I'm very methodical. If it's like, here's the starting area, you have 100 things to do in the starting area. I'm doing all 100 things, and then I'm going to the next area, which is perfectly fine. But if it doesn't feel like I'm playing an MMO, it feels like I'm playing a solo RPG. And one of my friends were like, we should go do this thing. And I was like, I have these quests to do. I'm doing this. So it feels like it's pointless to me to be in an MMO when the way I'm going to play it is as like a solo RPG.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
It's mostly just personal preference. It's nothing against any of the MMO games. It's just
I know. I just
my autistic like focus on getting all the check marks gone. And especially if I go to the next area and they're like, hey, there's 5 more checkpoints back there. It's like, up, all progress stops. I have to go do that.
Yeah. And his brain's going to think about that. Even if we push him past it, he's going to think about going back and going back and go get.
Yeah, but I play that way too. That's what I'm saying. You're not punished for that in this game, is what I'm saying. It's like with World of Warcraft, if you have to do that, if you do that,
right,
then you're like behind all the time. You're always never getting the gear level. You're never been able to do the content that you want to do eventually, because you're always kind of fighting. And by the time you get to a gear level, they've introduced the new gear levels. You don't have that with Guild Wars. They have one gear level. That's it. You get to that max level, that's all you get. They don't ever reintroduce higher gear levels. You don't have to worry about your eye level. You don't have to gear up for raids. You don't have to gear up for this, gear up for that. You don't have to do any of that nonsense.
Yeah, you can get gear that you actually like.
The game.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Guild Wars.
Fashion Wars is what they call it.
Yeah, you get the gear that you want to look like. Yeah,
if you're like me, where you love achievements, you love like maxing everything out and getting all of the stuff. They have so many achievements in there that you can track and follow and work towards. It's never ending on that end of it. Like it takes a long time to get through all of that stuff. But that's like the main goal for me playing the game. It's not trying to gear level. Once I've got my legendary gear, I don't never have to worry about gear again.
Right. For me, it's more of, if it's an MMO, it's meant to be playing it with other people. Right?
Well, that's the thing about this game is
mentality for
no, I understand.
MMO. So even if I'm just playing it as a solo RPG, it feels like I'm going to lose out on the actual premise of it being an MMO because I'm not going to interact with the MMO part when I can just go, cool. If I'm going to play this kind of RPG, I'm just going to drop the money and go play Baldur's Gate 3 for the next 200 hours and do that instead.
Yeah.
Let's say you're taking your time, you're going through and you're getting level 5, you're getting level 6, you're level 7. And then Harry or I come along and we're, level 80, right? We can still go to where your content is and hang out with you and just play with you because it gears us down.
Yeah, he knows that.
It levels you down. And then we can play with you that day. Then the next day you can play by yourself, or you can find other people to play with. You don't have to play with anybody. It's completely, I don't know. I just like the preconceptions that you might have about it. I think you might find that aren't necessarily, what you think they are.
Yeah, I think if you really want Vincent in, you should work on getting the rest of the crew into it, and then you might be able to pull him in.
Into it.
But you will have I could say Vincent will be a unsurmountable wall to climb. The easier wall will be Producer Paul and head of HR Nice.
Yes.
Work on those two, and if you can get those two in,
and then maybe we'll talk about
it.
We'll table the discussion for now. We can talk.
And the best thing part is you can play this game for free.
Yeah. Which actually it's a hindrance.
Why is that?
Because he'd be honor bound to play the game if you could buy it for him.
Exactly.
Well, you can buy the expansions for it. The expansions cost money.
Right, yeah.
Cool,
So
it's cool because if I don't download the game at all, it don't matter.
Right. There's like 3 expansions you have to pay for, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's like these living stories that were like mini drops of content between upgrades. Those you can buy. Those cost money, but you can buy them with in-game currency.
Yeah.
You get gold and you can turn them into gems and buy them that way. You don't, but the actual upgrades, those cost, you can't do that with those. Unfortunately, I wish you could, because that's the best part. One of the best parts about this game is that you can, anything you want, you can pay for it with gems, or you can just earn it through gold. You don't have to, you're not locked into either way. Like they got stuff in the gem store that you have to pay gems for, but you can use gold that you earn to buy the gems. You don't have to pay cash to it, or money to it, but you can if you want to.
Yeah. It's not a fun stock market. But anyways, on that bombshell, hello everybody, and welcome to an exciting new episode of Low Key on the Wheel of Chairs Network. My name is Harry, aka the Movie Target, and this is Low Key. We're back. Almost going to take the day off because today is a holiday. Maybe not be a holiday for you, but it's a holiday for me. Today marks my 22-year anniversary with my wife. Best 20 years of my life, okay?
Wait. You're doing this show on your anniversary?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's asleep.
I'm like, I don't know how you manage that because
she's asleep. Because she's asleep.
We've reached the end of the levels of we're going to get an anniversary if I did that. This is it.
Yeah. She's asleep. Nothing I can do. It's fine. It's fine. But anyways, so yeah. Rhinehold hit me that stud like answer that question. So yeah, it's gonna be an exciting, fun episode. These people watched a lot of gaming stuff that I refuse because I think I'm mad at most of the gaming world right now, and I refuse to read the Wheel of Time books. So this is gonna be a fun episode for me.
Okay, I understand you. I haven't, or I don't have interest, but I don't get the refuse. That's the weird part.
Honestly, I really don't have I just don't have time. I don't have time. It's hard for me to read for fun. I'm bad. I can't force myself to read for fun. Read for because I need to, necessity. Oh yeah, sign me up. For fun, I don't know.
How many chapters are you in for that book club, Harry? Are you still in chapter 1?
I've made it to chapter 4. I'm supposed to be on 11.
Oof.
And it's some of the.
Yeah, I know.
It just feels like some like when like gets to some of the phrases in that it's like this was a placeholder that they never found a name for, and it's stuck.
I told you you're gonna hate it. I knew you.
The Starlings, the Moonlings, they're like, and they're in the Moonlands. Oh, really? The Moonlings are in the Moonlands. Let me guess, their curse has to do with the moon. Yeah, how'd you know?
What are you reading?
Light Lark.
Yeah.
Light Lark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not a very good book, but there's a large fandom around it. But if you're into fantasy novels, you're gonna hate it. The world building is terrible.
Yeah. The other voice you're hearing is Rhinehold. Rhinehold, I should probably invite to the book club that I got invited to. You know, maybe he'll enjoy some of these books.
Maybe.
All right. Okay. All right.
Dude, who picks the books?
Can
I suggest books?
Yeah, you can suggest books, and we get to vote on books. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's Terry Pratchett. We're reading.
Oh man! Speaking of Terry Pratchett, I saw some the Harry Dresden files, like a stack of them at Goodwill the other day, and I almost bought them all. I'm like, man, it'd be great to have. I won't have the time to read them, but I would love to have them on my shelf.
There's rumors going around that they're going to redo Dresden Files right this time.
Oh, the TV show?
Yeah.
Who's picking it up though?
Don't know. Here's the problem.
I'm sure I hear
Just
you.
About every streaming service is screwing up everything. So
I'm hoping for Tubi. Tubi originals aren't that bad. They're hokey in that that old school 80s, 90, UHF type of channels. Like it's neat. It's like, yeah, it is like your 80s UHF channel had a budget to make movies. It's great.
If they're bringing something back, Rhinehold, it'll probably be Hulu. Hulu just like, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to bring back a bunch of shows for no reason. New season of Gumball. Fuck it. What?
Right? I was like, I don't want Hulu, but man, I miss some Gumball.
It's like, oh yeah, we brought back Animaniacs. Don't you know? We did that. So it's like, all right. Yeah. All right, Hulu, you do your thing.
Yeah. And as you can hear, the Hulu enjoyer, we got Vincent. Vincent, go say hi.
Hey, everyone. I'm looking through some of the games that were announced. We're mostly going to talk about the ones I care about or the ones I find interesting. But there's a bunch of them that are like, all right, I don't care. It's like Black Ops 7, cool, whatever, moving on. Another Call of Duty, woo.
Well, we're glad you put your Switch 2 down to come and join the podcast.
How dare you? I prefer consoles that don't get bent by staples.
I saw somebody put out a video where they were like trying to test the 10 style strength of it, and they finally got it to break, but it took a lot of work, and it wasn't what you thought it would break at. It was the actual something else besides the plastic. It wasn't the plastic that broke. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, well, because Nintendo stuff has always been known for its high durability.
Right.
That's why I always thought Nintendo would make it
against staples.
Yeah, so some that. Yeah. Which I've always reason why I always thought I thought if Nintendo could make a phone, it would be an indestructible phone. It'd be amazing to have.
Yeah.
But
beat people over the head with it.
Yeah. But we might end up getting like a Steam phone before we ever get a Nintendo phone.
I mean, I'd take it at this point, but
no, right?
All I know is that the Nintendo phone wasn't working. You just blow into it and then turn it off and on, and it'll work perfectly fine. Oh, it'd be amazing.
You at least have the breathalyzer on there. Like, oh, you too drunk for that text. We'll send that. Your text message privileges have been revoked till the morning.
God, you blow into it, and then Mario just pops up. He's like, "Are you sure you want to send that text?
Sure you want to send that?"
It looks like you're trying to send a text. Can I help?
No, before you send the text, Mario punches it and knocks the text away. And it's like, you're welcome. It's so stupid.
Donkey Kong pops up. Bing. Look, you're sending a pic unsolicited.
Like,
should I ask permission first?
It's like, everybody likes bananas, but you didn't.
Here's an article on informed consent. You should read that.
God, man. I know. Yeah.
You said one too many texts in a row and no response. Bowser shows up. Bro, I might be desperate, but not that desperate.
She's not that into you, man.
She's not. Just me.
Your princess is in a different castle. Go somewhere else.
There's a funny college humor video I saw about that where the princesses were like admitting that they were purposely getting captured.
Yeah, kidnapped. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was a funny one.
Oh yeah, that was a fun. Yeah, man.
So Rhinehold, do you want to get the hate off your soul first, or do you want us to talk about gaming?
Well, it's like we were saying, trying to come up with shows that go on streaming media. It's like you either have to commit to doing it or don't do it at all. All right, let's put it that way.
Okay.
This half-ass stuff that we keep having happen isn't cutting it. Like if you talk to people right now, you'll find out that streaming right now is just not capable of doing fantasy adaptions of books. It's just not going to happen anymore. Look what happened to The Witcher. They just drove that into the ground. The end of
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones was just terrible, right? At least they saw it through and finished it, but they finished it early than they should have probably. They should have went another season or two, but they decided to wrap it up quick because they wanted to go do other things.
Getting Guinness World Record of character development in one chapter, one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the worst part of the end of that was that nothing was earned, It's like this. I could see where they could make the case of that could be a good ending, but you have to earn it, and they did not. They did not do the work they needed to earn it. They're trying to skim through, and it's just like it's either admit that there's not enough people interested in fantasy, or quit trying to do this, right? Or commit to it and make it actually something that people will enjoy.
Yeah, and adapt the media, adapt the book, the media of streaming television. Stop getting creative. Stop making new shit.
Right.
Just adapt.
If you're gonna adapt it.
Well, so here's the thing.
I want the same story. I just want the same story. Just adapt it. Just like it's the same thing with if I read One Piece, the manga, then watched the anime, I got basically the same story. I can even do that with the live action.
If
I don't understand what's going on.
Frieren, I would want to watch Frieren, another fantasy series, and they do really well.
Right. I don't want to read Frieren and then watch about. I don't even. How would they ruin that?
Oh, it's a Mr. Stark only book. Only Mr. Stark. No Frieren.
Just
no Fern.
Completely
just Mr.
ignore.
Stark.
They just stick there, or it's all about Himmel. Yeah, just stay with Himmel the hero. That's it. We're not gonna leave and follow her. We're gonna stay right here in town. Why? This clearly Himmel's cool, but I don't.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Well, that's the very lead, maybe. My favorite fantasy book series, has been Wheel of Time. I've been reading that book since it came out. When I started reading it, it was probably on book 3 or book 4 of the series, which would have been probably about 93, 94 is when I started reading it. I read that thing religiously when it come out. Every couple of years, there'd be a new one. It was a great series. Kept me on the edge of the seat. It was very interesting. The first couple of books were probably the weakest because originally it was nothing more than a kind of homage to Tolkien, right? And even the author admitted that that's what he was going for. He was just trying to write a Tolkien-esque book. But after the second book, he really kind of found his groove and started telling a much different story, a much better story, much interest. It's like many people consider it the in between like the missing link of from humans. It's like the missing from the old fantasy to new fantasy. This is the what bridged us into the new fantasy.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones wouldn't have gotten done what it did, or been a book series at all if it hadn't been for Wheel of Time. And he even admits that in the fact that he stole from a bunch of stuff that was in Wheel of Time for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And it's fine. That's fine to do. But I mean, Robert Jordan knew it. Robert Jordan was telling everybody, go read Game of Thrones. It was a great book to read. So that's how I got into Game of Thrones, is that because Robert Jordan said, hey, while you're waiting for the next book, go read this one. So, and that at least Wheel of Time finished.
Yeah.
This as a side note.
Yeah, and when it was on Amazon, they adapted it for video, right? It followed the books, right? They was trying to tell a different story, right?
What's that?
Wheel of Time.
No, Wheel of Time. No, well, here's the deal.
Just saying, like, I haven't read the books, and if I booted up and watched the first season of Wheel of Time, would we have the same cohesive story-ish? What's going on?
So here's some problems. First of all, Wheel of Time is not something you can't really tell the story in the amount of time they agreed to tell the story. So they said that they would give them 8 seasons at 8 episodes, 8 1-hour episodes a season.
Okay.
That's enough to carry about 3 of the books, realistically, if you tell the story as it is. Right. And there's a lot of stuff in the books that's internal dialogues that you can't just, it doesn't replicate well to video medium,
right?
Visual medium. You have to adjust some things and change some
Correct.
things. So because they had to cut a bunch of stuff, they had to kind of compress down the story. And in order to make it, Amazon had some requirements that they had to age up the characters a little bit. They couldn't be teenagers. They had to be a little older. And have they made some changes there. So a lot of people who read the books were really upset about some of the changes that were made.
Had to wear Uggs,
but they were necessary to get the thing going. But and then the first season was really marred by the fact that it was in the middle of it, COVID hit and they had to shut down. And B, in the middle of the shutdown, one of the main actors decided he was not going to act anymore. So he quit. So they had to recast him, or they had to do something with that character that changed that it took them another 2 seasons to kind of get back to, right? To get take that divergent path and reconnect everything. To make it work. But the essence of the story, the magic systems, all that stuff was very basic at the beginning, but it evolved into what we as the people who read the books was expecting. Right. By the 3rd season, this last season, if you go look at the reviews for it, it's like 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is loved. Even the people who we call book cloaks, who are like, this isn't like the books, he's ruined the story, blah blah blah. They were even saying, hey, this was the best season they ever had. This was what we were wanting. This is good. This is what we were wanting from the series. They had finally achieved and got to a point where they were starting to tell the story really well. And remember, the first 2 books of the series are really kind of all over the place. So now we're getting into the books, part of the book series that is very well done and very well thought out, and it's easier to adapt, I think. So we got to that point where we're really seeing this is really kicking it. And Amazon, in their infinite wisdom, decided, we're going to cancel it. After its best season, they're even supporting putting people up for Emmy Awards, right, for the show, and they've canceled it. They're still putting advertisements out for the stupid show. I was looking at Reddit the other day, And there was an ad on the side where they were advertising the Amazon Fires or the stick, or I can't remember which one it was, either the stick or the Fire or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's to show the TV screen, and it had Wheel of Time on it, right? And it's like, guys, you're why did you not do? I mean, the only thing that a lot of people are starting to believe, and I believe this too, is that they committed to doing at least 5 seasons of Ring of Power.
Mm-hmm.
And Bezos loves that concept.
Mm-hmm.
He wants that done. So they had to cut money somewhere.
Like, who do you think is the Jeff Bezos self-insert in that show?
Galadriel.
What's that?
I was like, who is Jeff Bezos self-insert in that Rings of Power?
Rings of Power. It's definitely
Galadriel. I've never seen Rings of Power. So now,
good, thank you.
I personally won't be watching any more Amazon shows. I'm done with it. We're boycotting. I'm even canceling my Prime. So that's good job there. A lot of people have canceled. It's funny because it's you know how some shows like The Expanse, they got a second life because of fan stuff. There's an effort now to save the show called SaveWOT.com.
Yeah,
and they've already got 150,000 signatures. Right, and that's a lot more than what The Expanse had. It got picked up. So we're hoping that maybe Sony will shop it around to someone like Apple, who could really use a nice fantasy series and would be able to commit to it and get it done.
Yeah, but that show's so much more expensive than Severance. Okay, Severance is cheap.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that is anybody going to be willing to put the money up for something that Amazon canceled?
Yeah,
and that's where we're in trouble at, because I don't think that's going to happen. My mind is pretty much it's going to be over. The people who were loving the show, and there were a lot of people liking that show, are just left without an ending to it. Because that's the problem with Wheel of Time, is that it wasn't like a lot of book series you'll read. You'll have a story, and then the next book will be 2 years later. This new thing happens, and everybody has to get together and do something. Right? That's not Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time is one single story told across 14 books. And
that's why One Piece.
It's like 2 million words. It's like the largest largest story that exists. And they wanted to do it in 8 seasons with 8 1-hour episodes. There was no way that was ever going to succeed.
Man,
you know what I mean?
Rhinehold, all I'm thinking of, right, is that how much of a direct comparison your thing is with the anime Bleach, because it was a long running series that people really liked. It had an anime, and then the anime got canceled and didn't come back for 20 years. And they had a completely different company re-picked up the license and were like, all right, we're finishing the manga story. And that's what it's currently airing for Bleach, is like they're on like the 3rd season of like the final part of Bleach. So it's hilarious to me to see that you're going through what the anime fans have been dealing with for years. And it's just since it's something that is so dear to you, for me it's just like it's the fucking meme of first time.
It's like first time.
That's like my whole thought process the whole entire time, because I get where you're coming from, and I completely and entirely understand the pain that you're dealing with, because it's a completely different connection to things, but it's still a very similar of this thing I really love, had all the potential. It started to go well, and when things started to seem like it's going in the right direction, it's gone, and then you just got to deal with it being gone.
Right. I mean, there are people there who have actually paid money to buy billboards on Times Square. for saving the show. I mean, there are people who it's like this is a dedicated fan base, and if anybody like an Amazon would like to get a show that they knew would have some fan base up there starting it up, that would be the good thing for them to do. They're just
You mean Apple?
I don't know how people are going to do this, because what's going to happen is if it doesn't happen soon, if it doesn't happen the next month or two, it's probably never going to happen, and then no one's going to touch it for another 10 years.
Yeah, minimum.
You know,
but you said it yourself.
The best you're going to get is it's going to be an animated thing. You know, that's what's going to end up being. Is someone's going to animate it, maybe.
Yeah. But you've shown how difficult this is. You told someone like, "Hey, Amazon try to pack it in at 5." Most people aren't happy about that. You talk about how this is. So if you pick this up, right, and it's still, and people can't commit, you're just holding the bag. Then now you look like the asshole. It's a gamble.
It's frustrating because they got the people they wanted. They had the audience that they wanted, and it just wasn't enough for them because they couldn't justify the money that was being spent
on Rings of Power,
that they have to spend on Rings of Power. And the really frustrating part is they just bought another fantasy series to do a 3-book series. They just bought it to basically replace it.
The fans are nicer.
I don't know what it is. It's just frustrating because, I lived through the Firefly stuff. I lived through watching Game of Thrones. See, years ago, I was saying that, and this was back in the 90s, right? I was saying the only way they're going to make a good book series is they take a season of TV, which is at the time 24 episodes,
right?
And every season would be one book, right? And then HBO did it with Game of Thrones. I was like, this is what I was talking about. Not as many episodes, which meant they had to cut out a lot of stuff in that Game of Thrones. They cut out all the magic stuff that was in there, right? So it's like, people say, "Oh, that was so true to the books." I'm like, no, it wasn't. There's a lot of stuff they cut out of that series, that show,
Rhinehold,
of the book series.
Do you think that one of the biggest issues that Amazon are running into with it is that they thought they had another Game of Thrones that was going to be like the massive crossover into the pop culture thing like Game of Thrones was? Because Game of Thrones was one of the first like TV fantasy series that had the massive pop culture crossover to being considered mainstream. Do you think that they thought that they were trying to get another one of that, trying to catch lightning?
If that were the case, you're right. If that were the case, here's some things that they should have done to make that happen. One, actually tell people about it, advertise it. Didn't do that. Didn't once ever advertise it. This 3rd season came out. You've got Daniel Henney and you've got Rosamund Pike on the show. Why aren't they on the late shows doing interviews, advertising the show? Everybody else does that. It's a simple thing to do. They put no money into marketing, no money into advertising. People didn't know that the 3rd series had started. That's why the numbers were low at the beginning. They weren't telling you anything. Second, you're Amazon. You have merchandising that you can do. There's so much stuff in that Game of Thrones you could merchandise that people were begging for, and they wouldn't do it. They did not commit to this show once they signed it. They signed the first 3-year deal, and I think they just regretted doing it from day one. They started making demands on the showrunner that they had to do certain things. I think they wanted to tank it somehow, and they kept getting better and better.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
I don't know.
It could be that. Like, it's more of it comes down to: do you think that it was also just bad timing on that part? Do you think that because they started Ring of Power at roughly the same time that they split they divided their own viewer base? Because even if people who wanted a fantasy series because of how Game of Thrones ended, or they just wanted to try and hopefully recapture the magic, do you think they just split their own audience with that?
I don't think so, because there's no split there. I mean, you're talking. So Wheel of Time was on the air literally from. They did the first 3 episodes at one time, so it's like 6 weeks basically. the whole series is shown on the show live in 6 weeks period of time. Ring of Power does a similar thing, right? They're only on for like 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
You air 6 months away from each other, and where's the taking away from the play? You have two fantasy shows that if you got people into fantasy, they might check the other fantasy out. They should complement each other at some point. And
Do you also
they weren't doing any of that.
Do you also
stuff
think
that they
the
could have been
end
doing.
of Game of Thrones kind of burned some of the casual audience's graces to be willing to jump into a new fantasy series?
Yeah.
Did it stop the Witcher?
Yeah. I saw more Wheel of Time ads than I've ever saw Witcher ads on Netflix, by the way.
Mm-hmm. On Netflix. Well, I mean, yeah, but I hardly saw any ads for the Wheel of Time, really.
Saw plenty.
Once the first season came out, I think there was that initial push that they did, the first season
push, and then the second
and then it was nothing.
Oh.
I saw nothing second season. And yeah, COVID really screwed them over in making the show. But the main actor who played, like what was considered the main character, even though it was really not the main character, but he's still the main character of the show, had read the books and was into he got the character. He knew what was going on with that character. They were developing that so well. Into it's funny because I was watching somebody saying, it's like, oh, this is just your basic hero, reluctant hero who goes and saves the world, blah blah blah. And I'm like, you don't know what the story revolves into, because that's not the way it goes. It is not like that. There's dark periods and stuff that happens to this character that they were just starting to hint at. It was just starting to come into play. And it's all just the rug just pulled out from underneath everybody now.
Yeah.
And why would anybody invest in another show? Why would I go watch Rings of Power? Because I don't know if it's going to end. I don't know if they're going to pull the plug on it. Anything like that. The new one that they're going to do, that 3-book one that they're going to do the series on, I'm not investing in that. Especially on a studio who gave up like that. Why would I watch anything on Amazon Prime makes now? Because I know that they'll give up. If it was like, if the quality was going bad, if the quality was bad, was getting worse and worse, and the audience was falling off and nobody was watching it, yeah, okay, cancel it. It's not working, right? Yeah. But it was the best season they ever had. It was critically acclaimed. They're going to have a push for Emmy nominations for several of the characters. There's only like one season of Game of Thrones that scored higher than this last season of Wheel of Time on the metrics for on Rotten Tomatoes. This was like the peak of what it was doing, showing that it was just getting started to become something even bigger. Why wouldn't you go, okay, let's give it another 2 seasons? Especially knowing that one of the biggest things that was getting ready to happen was going to be next season.
Made Rings of Power look bad. It's got to go. It's got to go. Make Rings of Power look bad. It's got to go. Can't stay here. You can't park here. You make the show we like bad. Look bad. So you can't stay here.
I don't get it. It's baffling to a lot of people, because we were like, we hadn't got the notice that they were going to renew it yet. And we're thinking, a lot of people were like worried, are they going to cancel it? And it's just, a lot of people are saying, no, I'm not going to cancel it. What's happening is they're negotiating for how much money they're going to get, how much longer of a deal they're going to get. Are they going to commit to the whole, season, the whole series now? Or are they going to just go 2 or 3 years? We had no thought that was really, they were going to just like give up on it like that after what that season was.
Well, after Firefly,
it's like a mind blowing. Yeah. That's why,
And
I'm surprised they didn't do Game of Thrones. Like Game of Thrones didn't finish at 6 and they just ended it or something.
Yeah, they probably thought about it.
Of course, that might have been a better thing for it, but because then we might have actually got the book series finished, which may or not happen.
I as an anime fan,
I don't get
feel your pain, Rhinehold. I feel your pain, and there are so many times where I was like, I don't get it. Why does this series have 8 seasons and a final season 4 different times.
Mm-hmm.
And then this anime that's really good has 3 seasons. It's all you get. You get 3 seasons of Mob Psycho 100, and then we have Attack on Titan, the final season, part 3, the movie, and it's like fuck off, fuck off. So yeah, I feel your pain, Rhinehold.
Yeah, and look, there's some people out there who were big fans of the books and didn't like the direction that some of the changes were made in the TV show, which I I love the story that's in the books, but there's also problems with the stories in the books. There's a thing called the slog, which is like in the middle of the series, like books 8, 9, and 10. It's kind of gets slowed down. It's called, you have to get through it, but it comes out the other side really strong.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought there were changes that could be made to the show. I thought the changes they were making, a lot of them I liked, some of them I didn't, but I was just like, hey, go ahead and change it, because I don't want to know everything that's coming up either. I want to watch this show and be a little surprised. I want the big points hit. I want the characters to be developed the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a few changes, but it was still basically the same characters that they were developing into. As long as you're hitting that, I mean, go ahead and change a few things up. But there are people out there who are just like so adamant against what was being done because they didn't like the changes. And great, you don't like it, don't watch it, but don't like try to get it canceled. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I don't understand that mindset. Like, you don't have to like it. Let other people like it. Let other people like things. You don't have to like it. It's okay. Because their thought process is, we can get it canceled and then someone will come along and do it right. Like, nobody's touching this property again for at least 10 years. So you just screwed yourself and everybody else of ever seeing this being done, even if it was not as well quality as you wanted it to be and thought it deserved to be.
Rhinehold, learning of the manga anime wars that's been raging since anime started.
Well,
with his favorite book series.
Welcome to the party, pal.
But here's the those people I can get behind. I can say, okay, I understand what you're going through. I understand you don't agree with it. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
It was the people who were trying to tank it because they felt it was woke. Those are the people who are idiots.
Yeah. Well, hopefully,
because it was not. It was completely opposite of it. I mean, you have the main character was the white guy, right? The hero was the white guy, and it's like,
so
what do you think is happening in this show? It's like, well, this is just women, is a matriarchy. I'm like, no, that's not the point. That's the whole thing. That it's like that all falls apart in the show, because it starts off in a certain way, but it's not that way. It doesn't. It's not the story that's being told. You're putting your own biases into it, and you shouldn't do that if you want to enjoy anything that you ever read again. These people are just destroying everything that they ever read because they're putting their own biases into it and inventing things that aren't there.
Just like a next season. Anyway, so pick up the Wheel of Time book. You can read it there, because the series is locked behind the Amazon paywall. Anyways, we go to E3.
the totally not E3, because E3 is dead, but they still want to do presentations of things over the summer.
You don't like just doing presentations in a hotel room, like, please look at our crap, but this isn't E3.
It's like,
we're just
that would be like if they had Comdex online or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're just streaming this now, guys. Don't worry. So we had a Sony, a Microsoft, and then just a general summer games of just whatever. So Sony's first. Sony, all the games they announced, that there's some interesting ones where they started talking about the new Silent Hill game, which looks really good. I'm worried that it's set in like Japan in the past, and I'm getting very worried about how many games across all 3 of these announcements are samurais fighting monsters.
There's a lot of that.
There is there's a lot. Like there's 3 on Sony's alone. Because they're like Neo and Silent Hill and the new Ghosts game, and it's just like and another Ninja Gaiden game. It's like you guys are kind of flooding the market here. Taking the shine away from any other game that might, try to weave its way out of this.
Just wait till COD ninjas, stealth assassins.
Oh my gosh,
stealth assassins.
But the Sony one that they mostly showed off a lot of remakes and remasters of things. So they're bringing back Final Fantasy Tactics.
Mm-hmm.
They showed more of the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, and they showed off that they kept the Ape Escape mini game from the original Snake Eater, where you get to hunt down the monkeys from Ape Escape by putting them to sleep.
That's fine.
Some very interesting, new games. There is a game called Bloodstained that is done by the original creator of Castlevania, of Symphony of the Night. It's getting a sequel game. They announced it in the Sony one. A lot of smaller games, but the big things is that the fighting game community is eating good right now, because they announced they're doing an ultimate Mortal Kombat collection of every single Mortal Kombat game from like 1 to 4, including the cabinet versions of the game, all the console versions of the game, and all the mobile versions of the game. All with rollback netcode, so it's easy to actually play online. So if you want to play the GBA version of Mortal Kombat with great internet connection, they got you.
We got you.
And then they also announced a new Marvel fighting game that's not done by Capcom. They're doing a new tag team fighting game that is, instead of a 3v3, a 4v4, done by the people who made Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball Fighter Z, the other 3v3 fighting game. Yeah. And it's so weeb. Like they had they said like a whole 20 minutes where they were talking about across all 3 companies their views on it. And like Marvel went in because they tried to make like a Americanized Iron Man, and they were just like, just make it your art style. So like Iron Man looks like a fucking Gundam. And like, they showed Ms. Marvel, and she's the most anime girl waifu character with the big eyes.
Finally sells.
I mean, they also showed Storm and anime girl Storm.
And, are we happy?
Yeah. And they have Ghost Rider.
Oh, you're supposed to do the meme to the Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, we happy.
We're happy.
Yeah, and like they showed like a very wacky Ghost Rider kind of art style with him like flexing and bending a lot. It's very interesting. It looks like it's going to be very fun, and hopefully they succeed at this, especially since it's the next step up from the 3v3 fighting games, and they were like, we need to do something different, so we did a 4v4 because fuck you guys. And that just means your roster has to be fucking massive to accommodate fucking 4v4.
Second page.
Right? But it also lets you know, like they also showed Doom as one of the first characters they're showing. So I was like,
okay,
I get it. But on top of the fighting, there was another fighting game announced, but it was for Xbox, which we'll cycle back to later after I talk about this. There's another 3v3 fighting game done by the people who made the 2011 version of Killer Instinct.
Okay.
For Invincible. They're making an Invincible fighting game.
Forgot the tag. Invincible.
It's called like Invincible Versus,
Mm.
and it is bloody and graphic, and it's just as bad as the show. And it makes Mortal Kombat. Some of the ones I've seen, Mortal Kombat was like, "How did you do that? We want that. Give us that. Give us that. We want that too."
Yeah, some people, yeah, it's a resume for the next Mortal Kombat game.
So, all the fighting game communities are eating good except for Capcom, who all they did was show off the next set of characters for Street Fighter, but they did it in the most ridiculous way because they had Kenny Omega cosplay all the characters, and 2 of them were women anyway. So,
I like it. It's fine. It's fine.
so the characters look interesting, but like the fact that 2 of the characters aren't until next year, but they got a little bit away from themselves.
Yep.
So then we transition.
Still don't have Anya yet, but it's okay. No. Those peanuts.
Yeah.
Just peanuts.
So
Bodman comes down and just hits you.
So for the PlayStation 1, it looks interesting. The only other like notable thing that like catches my eye is that the gaming industry decided, since movies are stealing our shit, we're gonna steal their shit. So they did the Indiana Jones, right? Now they're doing a James Bond 007 spy game. A young James Bond 007 spy game. Done by the people who made Hitman. So people who know how to make a spy game.
Yeah.
So that looks like it could be very interesting. And I hope that succeeds, but we don't know until it comes out.
Do love this idea of taking their stuff and making movies. This would be great. Like, this would be great.
We're taking this because we want to do this.
Titanic video game coming soon, right?
Oh, there's already a Titanic video game for like the NES. It's not even a joke. There is. Yeah, it's terrible.
You can see like this is like Roblox or something.
So then we transition into the Summer's Games Fest, which is just more of a general list of games. I had to mention this one because they're trying to make Sonic into Smash Brothers.
Yep.
So they're doing a Sonic Racers called Sonic Racing Crossworlds, where they're adding in characters from other games into the Sonic Racing game. So they're adding Minecraft into a Sonic Racing game. And they're like, oh, Minecraft and Joker for Persona 5 and Hatsume Miku.
For reasons.
Why? Money. I'm like, all right, I get you trying to battle Mario Kart. I guess there isn't much. You got to do it somehow.
Yep.
Then something that I'm super excited about is that the people who made the newer Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle side-scrolling beat-em-up games.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, those.
They're making a new Scott Pilgrim side-scrolling beat-em-up game, which I'm like, because I love the original game before it, got Ubi locked behind everything. Because Ubisoft are assholes. Yeah,
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft are assholes, so they locked an amazing game behind an Ubisoft a Uplay account and shit. So I'm just glad that they're making a new Scott Pilgrim game. I love Scott Pilgrim as a franchise, and I love side-scrolling beat-em-ups, especially 2D side-scrolling beat-em-ups, as you could see from the fact that I have both River City Girls 1 and 2 in my Steam library. We got new Onimusha. Again, more samurais.
Yeah, more samurais.
We got Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver.
Okay.
It is an action game for the Wu-Tang Clan where you try to find all the members of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh my god. It's real.
Yeah, it's real. It's just like, all right. It
That's the soundtrack.
It makes sense. It's done by the Wu-Tang Clan, so of course the soundtrack's gonna be good.
Be the one game I'll buy the soundtrack.
But then we got the big announcement for the Summer Games Fest because throughout the presentation,
but a fully supported 3-player co-op. The heck is that?
I don't know, man. So throughout the presentation for the Summer Games Fest, they had the voice actress for Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil 7 Village talk about different Resident Evil things. How they're gonna celebrate the 20 years of Resident Evil and like the big Capcom Resident Evil sale that they were doing. It all led to the announcement of Resident Evil 9. They're doing Resident Evil 9 Requiem, and it looks like they're going back to Raccoon City after it was bombed. So it's a Raccoon City that is basically a nuclear wasteland. It's because they blew that shit up because of zombies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see where that goes because it seems like that it looks like they're introducing another new main character. Hi, Christy.
So she's up at Liberty and chill.
So it's gonna be interesting. I'm very intrigued to see where they go with the Resident Evil series. I've always loved the Resident Evil series. They're always fun and entertaining and really, really good. So let's just hope that they don't fuck that up as they did with 6.
6 Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah. Umbrella Chronicles. The other thing that they announced during that is that they're doing a Deadpool VR game starring Neil Patrick Harris as Deadpool.
Concern.
Yeah. So there's that. And then we got the Xbox presentation, where the Xbox is gonna get a mobile console, guys. They're making their own Steam Deck, but for Xbox.
Woo!
With
Everyone's
the
Xbox,
the Asus ROG Xbox Ally, which is just an Asus thing, but it has an Xbox app on it, so you can have your Xbox games on it too.
Nice. Can I erase that and put SteamOS on there?
Probably.
Yay!
I wouldn't blame you. It looks. It was like, all right, you guys do you, I guess. Whatever. I guess that's a thing you guys decided to. And like some of the things they announced for this one are like, hey guys, we're finally getting Resident Evil 7 remake stuff too, guys. Look at we're getting it too, even though it's on PlayStation and PC. But we're eventually gonna get it. Don't worry, guys. We promise. And it lets you know how desperate they are on things where they're showing the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake. And they're like, look at these new characters we added. So now you can play as Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Tony Hawk Pro Skater. Check it out. Come on, guys. It'll be really cool.
Please buy.
Hey, we're going to show off more DLC for Fallout 76. I was like, all right, bro. And then, like, one of the more interesting announcements was that there was a game that was announced called The Beast of Reincarnation, which is another samurai character fighting monsters. But the thing that everybody's interested in about it is that it's being made by Game Freak, who are the people who made Pokemon.
Okay.
Who literally basically haven't made any other kind of game but Pokemon for the past like 20 years.
Suppose my power took their lunch and they salty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they also announced Ninja Gaiden 4. More ninjas fighting monsters.
Yeah. This is different. It's not samurai, it's ninjas.
Yeah, totally. And they also saw the success that Astrobot was on the PlayStation. They're like, what game of the year is like, we need a platforming 3D platformer as well. We're gonna get Super Meat Boy 3D. It's like, Bruh.
Everyone loves Super Meat Boy still, right?
Super Meat Boy is how old?
Yeah, you kids still love your Meat
Do
Boy, right?
people even care about this game?
Hello, Gen Z. You guys love Meat Boy, right?
You guys like Super Meat Boy, right? Totally,
Mm-hmm.
totally. And like most of the other stuff are like remakes or sequels to games that I really don't give a fuck about. If I'm honest, it's like, oh, High on Life 2, Outer Worlds 2. I'm like, cool. You guys do you. As long as you guys have fun, I guess. But I mean, they actually have games for once.
Yeah.
Instead of just having the Steam and Sony eating their lunch all the time.
Right.
So they're at least attempting to do something interesting.
Yeah. Just pre-rendered videos.
Right. So we have like there are interesting games there, but a lot of them are will probably end up being either hidden gems or flops. Like, let's be honest, there's a lot of the game. That's kind of what the games market is now. It's either you're moderately successful or you tank, or you get the one shining light game that everybody loves and is raised up like fucking
Repo, Schedule 1, Among Us.
2020, Exhibition 33 or whatever.
Yeah, Obscura, Claire, something.
I've heard that's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's people are still talking about it being the game of the year because it came out this year and it's done. It's like a small French indie team making a game, and people really loved it. And the premise is really dark and fucked up. It's like there's a big clock that counts down, and whenever it counts down, everybody of that age dies.
Yay! Is that fun?
so like
Logan's Run, is that what we're doing?
Time to run, runner.
But it's everybody alive who's if you're
Carousel.
If you're 33, you're dead. You die.
Oh, gotta go.
Yeah.
So,
literally
So I mean, they execute it well, and this seems like a very fun game as well. So there are a lot of potentials here. I feel like a lot of the games that are going to see a lot of success are going to be the games that are smaller, lower stakes games than the AAA. This is our whole company's riding on this kind of games.
Yeah.
Because
how long before we see another, Baldur's Gate? Because that's kind of like the last one of that.
16 years.
Right.
A lot of people are suddenly liking, Cyberpunk. So I don't know, maybe.
I mean, people spend they went back and
playing,
put a bunch of stuff into it. So
and they're playing No Man's Sky. These maybe that is the model. You come out with something that's half done, and then you eventually fix it, and then people are like happy that you did.
Yeah. There's got to be people that enjoy that. Some people never go back to your thing again.
Right, exactly. It's a damned if it's one of those things of first impressions are everything on a lot of people. If my first impression is bad, I'm probably not going to go back to it.
Yeah.
In comparison to if I jump into a game a year after its launch, it's a completely different experience. So like Zinless just celebrating their 1 year of being around, right? So me playing it from the beginning will be completely different from somebody jumping in now and experience how the game is now.
Yeah.
And how it's changing and how they've over the year they've listened to fans and switched their ideology on how to move the game forward.
Right.
So it really just depends on what people are looking for. I mean, I feel like the Final Fantasy Tactics remake's probably going to get a bunch of love because those are games that were kind of hits before, but now they're coming back. People are going to look at them and go, like, "Oh, this looks cool." But I'm not seeing anything that stands out as like this is the next killer IP that's going to take over everything.
Right.
Which I think is kind of cool. Because if one of these games hits and it hits hard, people are gonna be like, "Yo, this is awesome! Nobody saw this coming. I can't believe Split Fiction was awesome. who saw that game coming?
Who saw Repo coming?
Like right? Who saw Hi-Fi Rush coming? Right, Schedule 1, all these games that get massively popular. If it's something that comes out of nowhere and people like word of mouth games into existence,
there's
a game about a princess. Can't remember what it's called.
Princess Mononoke. Oh. Nah. The video game.
But it's always great when you have a game that is Slay the Princess, which is a game that came out of nowhere that is visual novel psychological horror. And it's all like cartoony, and it's like, hey, save the princess. No, you kill her. She monster, she's scary. She needs to die.
She's monster, she needs to die.
Yeah, it's cosmic horror. But yeah, so I'm interested to see if any of these games become like the next big thing. Out of all of them that I saw, I wouldn't be surprised if the Marvel fighting game becomes big in the fighting game community, because the fighting game fans fucking love tag team games, and they're some of the most entertaining games to watch because if you go and pull up an Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 game, it looks pretty. You don't know what the fuck's going on, but it looks awesome. It's like, bruh, this person got this person didn't assist, and now that assist is dead. How did that happen? What happened? I don't understand what's going on. It looks awesome. Yeah. So spectator-wise, people are going to probably gravitate to that, especially because of how it looks and it being a 4v4.
Yeah.
I think probably some of the lower level games, ones that didn't even bring up, that I just kind of looked over. I was like, I don't know what you are about. You look like generic at face value, so we'll see. So yeah. Totally not E3 was interesting. We'll see how things go. I mean, the Switch 2 just dropped, and I don't care.
Yeah, Switch 2. Hey, we finally got a date for Mecha Break.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I'm happy for it. I think I might take that week off work. It's like a place to Mecha Break. We
need them to remove that kernel level anti-cheat. So
I don't think that's happening. The other thing with it is the what is also coming out? The spiritual successor to S4 League launched at the end of May, and I haven't got into it because the reviews are mixed. They said it is the nostalgia of that game is doing the heavy lifting, and I'm just like, oh man. I don't need that. I don't need that. I'm fine, but I don't need that. Missed that game. S4 League was a really hyperactive, Adderall-written shooting game. Esper shooter. It's a lot of fun. It was, you could have guns, Gatling guns, or a sword.
It was a weeb game before weeb games became weeb games.
Oh yeah. The moment you blocked and took someone out, like a gun with a sword, you just felt like a badass. And they had cool different modes where 9 versus 1, where one person couldn't die, but you only got points for killing people and doing damage to them. Yeah. So you just had to sit there and just tank everybody. Fun game modes. But anyways, yeah. Before this episode gets too long in the tooth, because Harry's gonna get up in the morning to work on a bunch of servers. This here, I've got to do some updates. It's gonna be fun. I did update a couple of servers over sitting here. I'm just gonna pushing buttons. Push button, look at logs.
All right, we're good.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. If you got this far in an episode, you're a true key holder in that. We thank you. You can listen to anything else in the world, but you decided to pick this up. And thank you to the 350 plus of you guys who download us every week. Come hang out with us live on a Monday. This podcast is recorded at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday nights. We're usually here. If it's not a holiday or something happens, come hang out with us live. It's fun. A lot of fun. But I understand we're on Podcast Network. You guys watch your podcast. But if you are free, you can come on twitch.tv/wearelibertarians. That's letter R, or youtube.com/wearelibertarians. Come hang out with us live. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, good.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a great time, guys.